Welcome to the Strand webinar. My name is Sophie Tidrick. I'm the Vice President and Development Director of the Strand, and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar, which is our fourth webinar in our series. It'll be a discussion on our 2 and 3 bedroom villas and taking a closer look at their unique attributes. I see a few familiar faces, so thank you for joining us again, and welcome to anyone joining us that's new today. Please let me know in the questions area if you have any trouble hearing me or any of the panelists, and send your questions into the chat box below, and we will try to address some of those as they come in. I want to start off by introducing our panelists today. First, we have John Fair, who is a developer and managing director of the Strand. John is the visionary developer behind Turks and Caicos' award-winning Grace Bay Club and the Esperanza Resort in Cabo San Lucas. Hi, John.
Hi, welcome everybody.
We also have our VP and Director of Sales, Thorn Capron, joining us today. Thorn has a long history of selling luxury real estate in Turks and Caicos Islands. He was previously the head of sales and marketing at Amanyara and Amman Property. Welcome back, Thorn. How are you?
Hi, Sophie. Thanks. Excited to share everything we're going to show you guys today, and great to see some familiar faces.
I also want to introduce Courtney Chapman, a sales associate with Turks and Caicos Sotheby's International Realty. Courtney specializes in the new development sector and acts as a listing agent on the villas here at the Strand. She also happens to be my sister. Welcome, Jo.
Good morning. Thanks, Sophie.
Finally, I would like to introduce Jo Zahm, the president and owner of Turks and Caicos leading brokerage, Turks and Caicos Sotheby's International Realty. Hi, Jo. How are you?
Morning.
Morning. Before we get started, I'd like to give everyone a construction update. We have finished paving Cooperjack Road and Seaview Close, which we're all very excited about. We are set to start construction on our reception building in mid-December. We have 4 luxury residences that are currently at different stages of construction, with the first home that you'll see here on your right, which is set to be complete by April of 2023. We started construction on Villa Building A in mid-July, and construction on Villa Building B shortly after that in mid-October. Here are some of the drone images of our construction site, which will show you the completion of those pools at Building A. You can also see that they're making great progress on the stairwells and forming up those foundations. Building B is also in the process right now of excavating their pools. So with that, I also just want to point out we've got some of our timeline here for big kind of milestones. So Villa Building A should be complete by spring 2024. And then in summer of 2024, Building B will be complete. You can also see that we've got our reception, which will also tie in with Villa Building A commencement, and that will be at spring 2024. Okay, I will give it away now to Jo Zahm.
Great. Thank you, everyone, and especially Sophie, and good morning. Super excited to be here, and super excited to be here about what, I don't know, 18 hours, 16 hours after the open house, which was really terrific yesterday. We had an incredible turnout. I think maybe twice as many as we've had on prior. And you know, seeing a project and being involved in the project from the conception as it takes form in the reality, there, as Stephen Covey says, there are 2 separate creations, right? There's the initial creation, which John Fair has really masterminded, and he along with Thorn and his team always have the most perfect information, no matter how much we study the plans. But it's not until the construction really starts to take form that we have that aha moment. And I've had my multiple aha moments, and I would say they're capital AHA, because all of the amazing product attributes are coming to life. And I think the first thing that you realize after repeated visits is everything is on the water at the Strand, everything. It is 2,700 feet of frontage. It's all spectacular. There's no B plus, there's no B minus. It's all A plus in terms of outlook and vibe. And last night was just a magnificent evening. And we can really feel with the market, with the existing owners, with the development group and the brokerage, my brokerage working hand in hand and in tandem with Thorne and John and Sophie and their team. Incredible energy and momentum building. It's something that you feel and you can't manufacture. And we're really at that, I think, at that tipping point and critical mass for the development that's really great. With regard to the villas, I think that early on, the villas have not been perhaps as understood as they could have been. And I think some of that, maybe is a self-indictment on myself as the broker of record and the person who's helping champion this development. But again, it's once you see, for example, the pools being formed and the courtyards being formed, the reality hits that this is not a typical product, and there's nothing like it in Turks and Caicos. Where else but the Strand and the Strand villas can someone own their underlying land, have their own private courtyard, have a full-size private pool, and then at every level of the villa have smashing, elevated, unobstructed, jaw-dropping views. And that combination is something that no one else has. And when you add to that every level is a separate key, and so if it's a 2-bedroom plus rooftop terrace, there are 2 keys. If it's the 3-bedroom, there are 3 keys. That is the sweet spot for optimizing rental and use from a personal utility standpoint and from financial utility standpoint. And it's something that really allows this product to stand out, which makes it a much better financial model than a typical standalone villa, but also provides far more exclusivity and privacy than a typical condominium that may have a lockout or 2. So the combination of that amazing flexibility and use and ownership, along with the exclusivity and privacy of the resort, with access to full amenities, we'll get into later, is something I believe that really stands apart for the Strand villas. And we'll be talking a bit more in detail later on, but that's my high-level take on the villas. Super exciting each time I go down to the site to see the amazing progress. There's so many people on site yesterday. And the other thing is that the delivery date for these villas will be far closer than any other condo projects that may be in the pipeline and coming online. You're looking at maybe a year to 14 to 16 months versus 3 years. So that's, I think, another real differentiator with the Strand villas. So with that, I'd like to kick it over to John, because nobody provides the 4 defining attributes of the stand better than the creator. So I'll turn it on over to John.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to take a brief moment and talk about what I call the 4 defining attributes of the Strand. These are the features or attributes that I think really separate us and set us apart and put us at that place where we're competing with the top residential resort products in North America. And then we'll talk, I'll introduce these on a macro level for the whole resort. And then as we go through this webinar, we'll talk about how these attributes specifically apply to you if you own at the villas. But the first one is lifestyle, amenities, and location. And just real briefly, the location is just absolutely unbelievable. I just pinch myself that we're able to assemble a piece of property like this on Providenciales. It'll never be done again. It can't ever happen again in Provo. And you need this level of beach frontage and acreage to be able to create the sense of place, to create a world-class resort community that can compete on an international level with other great destinations. So being right in the middle of the island, we're 10 minutes to anywhere, and yet we have this exclusive, beautiful bay. The only people who will be on this bay, the only products will be the Strand and a little bit of Waimea Villas, which is a nice neighbor. So it's really very private, exclusive. The bay itself is like a giant saltwater swimming pool. And better yet, even we're the end of the road. So there's only one way in and one way out. It's perfect for security. It's perfect for intimacy, exclusivity. We love that about it. But lifestyle and amenities, what's important here is it's a residential low density resort, but it has the amenities and the services of a 5-star resort. Those amenities and services, once again, however, are organized as a private club. And that nuance is very important. And we'll talk a little bit more about that going forward. And then operations. So we're going to operate this, even though it's a very residential, it'll operate like an ultra luxury resort. The difference is, as a private club, that service will be much more personal to you, and the activities will be much more robust and directed towards homeowners and their families. Another thing I want to talk about is the quality of design and construction. And you know, we have focused intensely. I'm a bit obsessive when it comes to design. And it's been a tremendous effort by a great team of designers and engineers and our internal team to create a product that's very unique look and feel in Turks and Caicos, really unique anywhere. And I think it's our own. And the concept behind that was to combine old world craftsmanship and quality materials with modern architecture and geometry. So it's based, all the product here is based around these perimeter walls that look like stone ruins, and in a modern house that's in between. When you can pull off that modern versus rustic, I think it's the most exciting architecture there is, and it's the architecture that stands the test of time. And that's really what we're all about, is we're about being gorgeous day one and even better 50 years from now. And we take the interior design, and we also take the same level of thoughtfulness and intensity of design to all the outdoor spaces as well. The quality of the materials and the quality of the construction is absolutely second to none, period. I don't care where you go, anywhere in the world, that's how good it is. This happens to be, it's something I'm thrilled with. We happen to have the most experienced construction team I've ever worked with in 35 years. And it's going very, very smoothly. Every single thing we've started is on schedule and on budget. And it's just a really professional team that have worked closely with the architects and the engineers to make sure the plans are great, we're not dealing with problems, and it goes smoothly. The fourth thing I want to talk about that defines us is sustainability. We've already won an award as the most sustainable and solar luxury resort project in the Caribbean. I think we'll win a whole lot more in the future. Why other places aren't developing more sustainable, I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. In Turks and Caicos, power is about 50 cents a kilowatt hour. We can, we're able to do full systems with Tesla power walls at about 13 cents a kilowatt hour. It just makes all the sense in the world. The solar packages are optional, but every buyer has taken one. We expect every buyer to do it. We pass it on at cost. They're fabulous packages. In the villas, that package comes with one power wall, which also serves as your backup power, which is great. You don't have to have a nasty generator. All the way up to on the Grands, they come with 6 Tesla power walls. But throughout the project, we're going to have solar power. But in addition to that, and Sophie will get into this later, we're also have designed the Strand and worked with biologists to be a pollinator sanctuary, and just trying to be custodians of this incredible place and environment that we are privileged to be able to develop and live on and experience. So we'll get into that more too. But anyway, those are the defining attributes. Just want to go through them real quick. We move on from there.
Thanks, John. That was awesome. Thorne is the one person who probably has lived the Strand lifestyle more than anyone else to date because of his boating and water prowess. So I want to turn it on to Thorne to talk more about, the lifestyle and as that relates to the amenities and location.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. The Strand is located in the kind of the center of the Providencialis on the south side of the island. And as an avid boater and fisherman and diver and spirit, I mean, anything on the water, essentially, I've always loved the south side of the island because it gives you access to a lot more diverse kind of areas to go. You can head out from the Strand, and in 15 minutes you can be deep sea fishing for wahoo or tuna, or you can head out straight out to French Key and find some of the best red snapper and grouper fishing there is in all of, I would say all of the Caribbean, like really, really good. But then one of the really cool things about it is that the Caicos Banks itself, which is that kind of shallower shelf that goes out on the south side of the island, that's such a large area, and there's so many coral heads and there's so many different areas that you can jump in the water after 10 minutes of being on the boat, and you can be swimming next to a coral head that there's a good chance nobody's been near for years. And so you get to see a lot more wildlife than you would see most of the time on the North Shore, where you have a lot of these people snorkeling. And that ties amazingly well into the Strand because of the way that we operate and the way that we're formed. The fact that we have our own private marina in the back, we have our own club boats in the back. We've got our own club sailboats. We've got our own club paddle boards. The way it's set up, it's really giving you an entryway to the water and to an experience that I think a lot of our clients and owners and friends, they may have been swimming, they may have been snorkeling in the past, but I think after a few years of owning on the Strand, it's going to open up a completely new world to them. They're going to find new joys and hobbies and loves that they didn't even know that they had in them. And to me, that's really exciting. I'd say probably my favorite thing about doing the sales at the Strand is knowing that I'm not just selling them a house. I'm giving them an opportunity and a gateway to a lifestyle that is, I've been living down here in Turks now for 15 years. It's just second to none. There's a reason why I choose to live here, and I could think of no better place to access that than through the Strand. Other amenities that we have on property too, that comes from, obviously, John has an extensive background in 5-star resort properties, and he knows luxury, better than anybody. Me coming from my background, it's the same sort of thing where I've been experienced to, really high-end properties. But what differentiates us at the Strand is that we offer all these things, right? We've got the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. We've got this beautiful AC gym that has ocean views while you work out, which, I don't know anybody else that has that. It's pretty exciting. We've got a beach club that is uncomparable to anything else that's happening in Turks and Caicos. There's nowhere else where you have a proximity of a main swimming pool to a large beach where you can have interaction that flows from the property down onto the beach the way that we do at the Strand. And to me, that's going to be, I think, one of the most lively, vibrant areas in all of Providencialis. For our owners to be able to go back to the privacy of their villa and have absolute privacy and quietness and peacefulness, but then, stroll down quickly to the beach club and be able to get this vibrant social energy, I think that's just a really unique and special thing that only the Strand can offer. Going back into some of the amenities, I think it's important for us to tie the services in as well, because another thing that we did here at the Strand is we said, look, our owners want access to everything, right? They want to be able to have a private chef come into their house when they don't want to cook. They want to go down to the restaurant sometimes when they don't want to cook too. They want to have a maid who comes in and cleans up after them if they're busy and they're on vacation and they just want to maximize their time having fun. They want to be able to have a concierge or a butler who comes in and helps them cater their trip and plan their trip and make sure that every single hour of their trip is as good as it can possibly be. And we offer all those things. And to me, that's a really big part of maximizing our owners, clients, friends, guests, maximizing their experience in Turks and Caicos. Yeah, I love this rendering of the beach club. It really shows how you flow from the property down onto the beach. And I can tell you right now, you can look hard throughout the entire Caribbean, because I don't really look at the Strand as a comp set for Turks and Caicos. I look at the Strand as a property that's going to be able to stand against the very best resort residential properties in all of North America. And I'm going to be very proud to have my name attached to it forever. I can tell you that for sure. Some of the other amenities, though, that we have on the property as well is right here, we're looking out the guard gate. What's really fascinating about the Strand is there's only one way into this property. You've got a big hill on the rear, and other than that, you're surrounded by water, right? You've got this big canal down the back that acts essentially as a moat. We have the marina and all the boats are parked, and then you've got just ocean and beach in the front of you. So having this one way in and one way out, that is just a really nice thing. It allows us to have a kind of a freedom about the property. I've got young kids, and this is a property where I know that I can let my young kids run down to the beach and I don't have to go down there with them. You know, I can let them run around and really enjoy the spirit of island life because we have such a secure property, and such an intimate property. Coming back to location, and John, you know, spoke about this and how special the Strand was. You know, one of my hobbies and jobs has always been to look around Turks and Caicos for good parcels of land that have development potential. And I can tell you unequivocally that there are no other pieces of land left in the island of Turks or Providenciales where you could build something like the Strand. They're either way too remote, or they don't offer the frontage and the elevations and the marina on the rear. They don't offer all these different things. So, you know, whenever I'm selling the Strand, I can always say, you know, that there's not going to be something that comes along later that I think my clients are going to prefer more. This is something where I know if they get this is exactly what's right for them, and they're going to stay with us forever. And to me, that's exciting because that's how you create these legacy properties.
Yeah, that's a good point, Thorne. The elevation of this site, I think, is something that really lends itself to the points that both you and John have been making about the privacy aspect and the exclusivity. One thing we haven't mentioned is the ground floor of the villas is at about 24 feet above sea level. So, you know, one of the points that Thorne's always making to us about the site that is maybe sometimes lost in renderings, you kind of have to get out there to feel it, is that when you're in your villa, you're not seeing anyone else. So people can walk down to the beach. That path is sort of dug into limestone. It's at, I think, 10 feet above sea level. So privacy is kind of paramount throughout every kind of aspect of this. The
That's a good-
architecture thinking. Sorry,
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
said, John.
Oh,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry. I didn't
no,
mean to-
I was just, no, not at all. I was just going to say that for me personally, one of the things I think really stands out about this, having worked with other developers, is the quality of the architecture and the interior design. And you know, you are so incredibly detail oriented, and I think there's a taste level and an aesthetic that kind of really speaks to your personal experience that we just have not seen yet in Turks. You know, we've had a lot of very, very modern builds over the last kind of decade, but this really has a warmth within it because of the quality of the materials and the kind of natural limestone and the coral stone. So I guess when I look at it, I can really feel the influence from your experience at Esperanza, Grace Bay Club, which is a timeless property that has obviously stood the test of time. And I just wondered what your inspiration kind of has been, or if that is even accurate.
Thanks. Yeah, so again, I really, it goes back to being inspired by pulling off this combination of old world and modern. And it was interesting as we were designing the villas with RAD, tremendous architects who have done a lot of work in Turks and Caicos and all over the world. But as we were going through the designs, I kept saying, no, we're not there. And then I said, think of it as these, stone ruin walls in modern geometry in between with beautiful materials. And then all of a sudden, Danny, the partner in Cordoba, Argentina, sent me a what we see now. It just came across one day. I went, that's it. You got it. He absolutely nailed it. And the beauty of this architectural philosophy of these stone walls that go through, that are like these old ruined walls, is we use that theme to create the privacy between units. So it's just incredibly private. Frankly, I've never seen townhomes or condos or anything like it as private as these are on each level: first level, second level, third level. And then what we do is, because of their elevation, we make sure if there's any walking paths or anything that are behind, or even down to the restaurant and the bar and the beach, you can't even see it. They can't see you if you're in your pool, and you can't see them. And so we really take the privacy to an extreme because it's supposed to be your sanctuary. And, and that's the idea. I like this rendering a lot, by the way. That is a dead on rendering of A4 in the A building. I mean, it's just dead on. That's exactly the view you've got from your ground floor. That's exactly what your backyard's going to look like. That's what your pool's going to look like, everything. So that's a good one. If you want to.
And that's just the ground level, right? It goes up sort of 10 to 12 feet of floor. So the view is better and better.
12 feet, 12 feet per floor. So the A building is
upgraded floor plan.
Yeah, the A building's at 22, 23, 24 feet, Sophie? 24 feet, ground level. So you have that gorgeous view off your ground level, and then it goes up 12 feet per floor. So it's just, you get up to the second floor, third floor. It's just really breathtaking.
Yeah. Joe,
and you
my
lay in your
head's
bed.
blocking it.
Another thing we did architecturally is every single bedroom, your bed looks straight out at the water. So
yeah, I love that. I love that.
It's pretty unique in that regard. And if you show a second floor, Sophie,
let me see.
it's interesting. I'd like to come back to this slide because in a minute too, or I can talk about it now. What we did, so there's so what we did is we created a different option with which this shows with a bigger pool. And it's a big pool. This is not a plunge pool. It's a big pool. And it has these lounge chairs kind of in the water, but it has on the left-hand side a big outdoor living area with outdoor dining and outdoor lounging and an outdoor TV. We wanted to really open it up as a bigger, better family space to, congregate and hang out together. And I think it really came together well.
Yeah, this model also in the kitchen island, instead of that being a dining table, now you also have under counter sub-zero refrigerator drawers and wine storage. So just much more convenient for entertaining.
And as far as material palettes, real quick, so it's all beautiful Dominican coral stone on the vertical walls. And by the way, the construction quality on the villas is the same as on our $10 and $12 million residences. So, we have the beautiful coral stone on the vertical walls. We have seashell limestone on the floors, really pretty. Some of the bedrooms have white plank, oak flooring. It's all European white oak, all the millwork's made in Spain. And top of the line appliances, just, a really timeless, beautiful material palette.
Yeah, we really tried to capture the color of the sakabumi, which is a Java stone in the pools as well. But it's much more of like an emerald color, which is just going to be spectacular.
That's gorgeous.
And
but before we move on, sorry if we're ready to, I just wanted to ask Thorne as well, because I thought this was really interesting when we were on site, the width of that ground level, kind of how that relates to some of your larger homes, because I'm not sure that you really get the sense of the size.
It's pretty significant. I like to when I'm showing, one of our luxury residences or the villas, I like to, basically take a tape measure and pull it across the front of our luxury villa, which is a big home. Those of us that have been lucky enough to walk around the ones that we have currently under construction, they know the size of them. But when I pull a tape across and say, look, this is the width of a villa, it's not far off that main room. It's a lot of room. And I think you really feel that, especially with these full length pools that we've done now. These pools are 27 plus feet across. They're major pools. And that just gives you this wide open expanse where you feel like you're framed in and you just have this view of the ocean and there's nothing else. You just see your beautiful walls, stone walls, and ocean, and you don't see anything else. And to me, to be able to create that level of privacy, honestly, it was impressive. I've been selling this project now for 1.5 years. And until I walked out onto that site and stood in front of the pool in building A, and I don't care which pool you're in front of at building A, because they're all tremendous. And you stand there and you go, wow. It's just, I haven't
They're
seen anything like it. It really is. You just go, wow. And that's on the ground floor. I can't wait till we get the second floor poured and the third floor poured so I can go stand up there.
Look, I mean, the location, I did the same thing yesterday. I went from A1 to, across the building, and any of those locations could support a $15 million villa.
Yeah.
They're not lesser locations. And I think that's the important thing, is that they're on A+ locations without compromise. I wanted to move on a bit to the management. As most people know, we're familiar with the Turks and Caicos and Providenciales market, and God knows I am, is, most of the luxury villa projects, if they're attached to a resort, they're 50-50 splits. And if they're not attached to a resort, they're often 60-40 splits plus. John has, he has some different reference points, I think, in mind when he created this project and worked with his team in order to put together the rental management or club program. And I wanted to kick it over to you, John, to just flesh that out a bit.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny. We're perceived maybe as a bit disruptive on the island because our program's different. It's just different in Turks and Caicos. It's not different on an international basis necessarily. And I have experience with this kind of a program elsewhere, but what we're doing, I think, and it's kind of the theme that we try to follow through everywhere on the Strand, where if you buy here, it's really all about you and your family. So we try to keep that perspective in every way. And so what we do, instead of the 50-50 split that maybe even has 10 or 15 off the top and then a 50-50 split, we just do a 20% commission, you can call it, plus there's a 5% marketing fee. And then we pass on all expenses through, but we pass it on at cost or cost plus 10%. And it's very, very transparent. And I think that transparency is really important for people. I want everybody to feel comfortable and to feel good, right, about it. So, it comes out pretty good. And we do side by sides with other resorts. It depends, it varies. And, but our owners always come out better, and sometimes a lot better. And when you combine those splits with the two other things, one is if you get the solar package, and that means your electricity bills are way down by 75%, and combined with the other disruptive thing we're doing, which is we're taking a 5% club charge on every rental and every F&B check. And 100% of that goes right to the club budget. Think of that as like a Strand budget, but it's the club budget. 100% of that goes to the club budget. What that does, at least on paper, once we're stabilized, that cuts the budget in half. And by the way, our budget on running this project and this HOA is going to be just like pretty much where everybody else's is. When I run the numbers, that's just where it comes out. It's not cheap to run a project like this in Turks and Caicos. But when you put that rebate of that 5% service charge against it, it literally cuts it in half. So I think we're going to have better amenities and services than anybody there is in Turks and Caicos, much more owner-centric, way better splits, and ultimately, I think your dues are going to be half as much as anybody else. So you add all that together, it's a pretty compelling program for owners.
Before we move on, John, just because you reminded me of this, the Strand, I think that's really something that's really special about the Strand and about just the way John has envisioned and developed it so far is that the amount of effort. Usually, when you do a development and you think of a developer, you think of somebody who buys land and builds something on that land and selling that particular product. But John has put as much effort into thinking about how our owners are going to live there once they own the place, as he has into the actual architecture and the design of the project itself. And I've never seen that before. I've never seen a property where he's thinking about, okay, well, if they're staying for 2 weeks, what are they going to do? How are they going to entertain themselves? How are they going to feel? To me, that's amazing, because that's what really matters. It's funny, you know, everybody who's bought with us so far, if I ask them why they bought, yeah, they're going to say, because I think the home is beautiful and I think this beach is going to be tremendous and I like the setting. But they will all also say they did it for the community. They did it for the services. They did it for the culture of the property. They did it for how they're going to feel and how they're going to be able to really just be themselves and enjoy this property in a way that's unique to the Strand.
Good point.
Yeah, very good point. I almost wish we could share some of those photographs that you shared with us of the restaurant. I know that's top
Sure.
secret for now, but that's an example of it, isn't it? I mean, it's such a beautifully designed, like well thought out sort of space for, you know, you have your privacy with different little nooks, but you also have this real sense of connectivity that runs through the whole thing. Switching subjects slightly, sustainability is another big feature at the Strand. So I was hoping that maybe, Sophie, you could tell us a little bit more about some of the special touches that you've implemented.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think sustainability is something that's very important to us at the Strand. And I think what has helped us in facilitating that and making the Strand what it is today is some of our clientele. I feel like the clientele that we have now is something that's very different from the typical tourists in Turks and Caicos that we've seen in the past. Our clientele are community conscious, environmentally conscious. John, I know, has for years wanted to do solar, and finally the technology is there to make it fiscally possible. We are partnered with Renew Energy, TCI. So we are able to provide our clients with solar packages that are at a reasonable rate that makes sense in today's world. I think John already touched on the price of energy today in Turks and Caicos, which has been monopolized for quite a long time. But it's nice to have an option, which is a lot cheaper. So we are at 13 cents per kilowatt compared to the 50 cents that it's at currently, I think. So what we're giving to our clients is these solar packages that include a power wall, which will also act as your generator. But you can also have complete control over that. So no matter where you are in the world and while you're renting, you can monitor your production from your panels. You can monitor your consumption in the home that's happening with your rentals. You can also monitor your electric vehicle chargers. If you have one here, you can monitor how that's going. You can even feed back from your vehicle back into your home if you ever needed to. It just makes sense. And I think that's why all of our clients so far have chosen to go with these packages. And it's wonderful because it really ties in with what we wanted the Strand to be, because we will have solar panels on our amenity buildings. We'll have electric vehicle chargers in our main parking. It's a change that's happening in Turks and Caicos. And it's a change that I think all of us are really happy to see all around in different resorts and different parking areas for that. We're also-
Sophie,
mhm.
I just want to ask you a question, because this comes up a lot, and I know that you have a good answer for it. But you know, a lot of people I speak to, they go, "Well, Thorne, obviously being industry leader in sustainability is amazing, and we applaud you for it. But what about all these ugly solar panels that are going to be all over this property that we have to see?" And so, can you explain how we've managed to kind of make that not a problem?
Yeah, well, for our grand and luxury residences, we have flat roofs there, but we have brought our parapets up to the level so they're virtually, you will never see your solar panels. They're not visible at all from your home, from the road. You may have to get in an airplane or a parasail to see them. But we wanted it to be, seamless.
And what we do with the, sorry to interrupt, Sophie,
go ahead.
but at the villas, we're putting the solar panels on top of the trellises. So it kind of accomplishes two things. One, it makes those trellises, produce power for your unit. And by the way, our new solar panels are prettier than these. And then the other thing it does is it helps kind of waterproof it. So,
Yeah.
You kill a couple birds with one stone.
Yeah. Other ways that we're trying to be as sustainable as possible is using smart technology throughout our homes, throughout the resort. And ways that we're doing that is similar to how we have our monitoring. So anywhere in the world, you can monitor your energy usage. This is just an example of some of the ways you can monitor it. So you've got your solar panel monitoring here. That's your production and consumption. In the middle here, you have your electric vehicle charger. And then the right, that's for your power wall. So everything, it's full transparency, no matter where you are in the world, you have that access. And when you're in residence, you can also do that. And the way that we're doing that is tying it in with all of our smart technology throughout the home. So this is just some of the systems that we're using. And it's all under the interface with Intelli. So you can monitor your irrigation, you can put on your surround sound speakers, you can unlock your front door if you have a guest coming and you don't want to get up and walk through your courtyard. Everything is to have that convenience for our client, but also so it's smart and sustainable and will be there, for years. Smart technology.
And the Intelli is interesting. It's a software aggregator, primarily for hospitality, but so what we do is you end up with Lenovo tablets in every residence, and in the villas, every lock-off will have a tablet. And not only does that handle your smart home, your media, and all that, energy, your cooling and heating, or cooling, no heating, but but it also has keyless entry, which is very interesting. So when you're coming from Chicago, or your place is rented out and they're coming in from New York or London, they actually check in before they ever land in Turks and Caicos. And they have on their cell phone a code. That code gets them in the front gate of the courtyard in their specific lock off on the second floor or third floor. If you're there with your whole family, all you need is a code to the courtyard door, because that becomes your front door. And not only that, but on that tablet, you can order, we don't have room service, but meal delivery from the restaurant. You can immediately get a hold of your personal concierge, to take care of any reservations or activities you want, anything you need at all, security, you name it. So all that gets, in all of your smart home stuff, all gets integrated in through this Intelli.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And
Tell
that's
them
just
about the pollinator stuff too.
I thought you'd never ask. So we're all really excited about this. This is something we've been working on for quite a long time now. And it was kind of a Marcella Delamar's baby, our marketing director, with John, because we've partnered with Butterfly Pavilion, which is a nonprofit based out of Denver. And they have come, I think they came in July, and they have gone all through our site, doing some monitoring, collecting data. And we've just gotten our report back from them. And what we're doing with them is creating a sanctuary for local pollinators. Often pollinators kind of go amiss and people don't concentrate on them, but they play a vital role in our ecosystems. I think that being born and raised in Turks and Caicos, I've seen a lot of development happen here. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. I think what we're trying to do at the Strand is find a new way for development to happen, where it's conscious of the environment, it's conscious of our community. And by partnering with Butterfly Pavilion, that's one of the ways that we're doing that. So while they were here, as well as collecting data and advising us on what we should be planting, and how we should be irrigating and how we should be monitoring these things, they also met with our local DECR, which is our environmental department here. And they also met with the youth center here, which is also a nonprofit for children. So we are going to put into action on all of our residences and throughout the resort, these sanctuaries for pollinators with our smart planting, but it will also encourage people every time they come to our site to learn more about it. And hopefully this is something that the rest of the Turks and Caicos Islands will catch on with, other developments, other private home owners, something that will spread and hopefully will be the catalyst for that. So we're hoping that when our clients come out of their home in the morning, they're going to see butterflies outside of their door. The hummingbirds will come back. And just, it matches with the peaceful nature of the Strand in general.
Great.
I love
So,
that.
do you
A
want to
lot,
stick
a lot of
handles
people
and
don't
questions?
realize. A lot
Yeah,
of
why
people
don't we answer
realize
some
how many,
questions?
hummingbirds
Sorry,
we
Thorne,
have
go ahead.
here.
Yeah.
I was just saying, a lot of people don't realize how many hummingbirds we used to have here and how that population has been going down. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love seeing them come and fly around my house in the morning. So it's exciting.
Yeah. And lucky for us, a lot of the plants, native plants that Butterfly Pavilion has recommended we plant are very beautiful flowering plants, because that's what attracts them. So for us, it's gonna really, our gardens were always going to be very lush. And so it's really been such a positive experience so far. And they'll come out in a year's time and do another bit of research for us and see how those populations are growing. And then at the very end, and for years to come, they'll come back and just let us know how everything's going. But I feel like it's going to be buzzing around anyway. So we'll be cognizant of that.
Buzzing around. I like that.
Why don't we answer there's a few questions I noticed on the website.
Yes, let's.
So the first one is, Docks Marina, can owners purchase a dock space? And the answer is yes. We're going to have really, really nice, high quality floating docks. And we're going to be building the first phase of the marina in the late winter. It'll be probably done in the spring. And the answer is yes, you can purchase one. I don't know the price yet. We're working through that right now. And that's we want to kind of get through the first couple to make sure we really do understand exactly what it's going to cost, on our side. But we're excited about our little marina. It's going to be a tremendous convenience for our homeowners. Just the idea that you can get up and just take a 5-minute walk, jump on your boat, or take a golf cart down with your cooler or whatever you want, jump on your boat and go is amazing. But the answer is yes, we will be able to do that. We just don't have the price set yet. You'll have the option. You don't have to buy it. You could also rent it. We're going to be pretty easy on that. Second question. Thank you. Looking very, oh, that's nice. Okay.
No, it's I actually
Just a compliment.
typed to her. Yeah, I just
okay.
typed to her the answers to that question earlier. So.
And then Scott says, hey, Scott. Scott says, Courtney, how's it possible to charge your car if the parking is not proximate to your unit? Well, I think some of that car charging was more relevant to our residences, where you're going to have a plug-in in your garage, but it's not irrelevant to the villas, because we will have some car charging stations in the main parking lot. And if villa owners want to keep a vehicle year round, we're going to have a limited amount of space, but we will have some space in the back of the lot with some shade. And if we want to put, it's always possible to put charging back there too. It's easy to put solar panels on. So that's how we'd handle that with villa owners. Are there any other questions?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jeff
another.
just answered a question.
What
Jeff
is the
says,
timing of the main pool and other amenities? Very important. Sophie, do you want to put that timeline back up?
Yeah, let me just get back there. Give me 1 second.
The key to it, everybody, is we want the resort 100% fully functional with all amenities, services, restaurants, and everything else by the time the B building is completed. There'll be, everything will be working and going as well by the time the A building's done. But the restaurant may be a little bit limited, but everything will be there, reception, everything will be done in there. So here's a good timeline. And I can't read it very well, but Sophie,
So,
maybe you can.
yeah,
help
I'll
there.
answer it for Jeff. Yeah. So the beach club and pool area will be finished in fall and winter of 2023. We'll
And
also
then-
be completing the restaurant and bar area at that time. That's 5 and 6 here if you're looking at the map, guys. It's hard to see our restaurant here, our kitchen, because it has a living roof on it. It's sunken down and has that living roof on it. Another kind of lovely feature, a new thing in Turks and Caicos. Our tennis and marina will also be set for completion fall and winter of 2023.
And then in spring of 2024, the reception and the Villa A building will be done. And the reception, frankly, will be done before A. And then in the summer of 2024, building B will be complete. So, and I think building A and reception will probably be done, frankly, in the, early in the winter really of 2024. And, probably
Great.
February, something like that. And then we think spring of 25, building C will be complete. But by the time, somewhat between spring and summer of 2024, the resort will be completely fully operational with all the food and beverage and everything.
Guys, Mika had a question that I typed her an answer, but I think it's worth bringing up on this, which is, can someone chime in on kiteboarding from the Strand and how you see the beach club set up for kiting? And I just responded to her and said, as an avid kiteboarder up and down and all over, big waves, anything, I like to kite. The Strand's actually in a terrific location for kiteboarding. One of the nice things about it is that the way the wind goes is it usually goes from east to west, and the Strand is facing south, right? So it comes sideways on us. Now, most of the Strand is very well protected by a hill that's to the east of us that blocks a lot of the wind. But when you're out in the bay, you could very easily kiteboard towards the further end of the bay. And I do all the time. Actually, me and this particular person who asked the question are actually planning to kiteboard from Long Bay over to the property sometime next week, which would be a lot of fun. But it's a wonderful place to kiteboard. You've got great flat water. You can easily launch from our beach and get out and enjoy yourself in the water there. She had one other question too, just asking about the furniture package for the villas. We work with one of the best interior designers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Great person personally, and has just an incredible eye. And he's put together a package for these villas, which is very true to our renderings. If you just actually look through the renderings, the things that you'll see in the renderings are the actual pieces of furniture that we have throughout the property. And I can tell you that if you were trying to furnish this property yourself, you aren't going to be able to get it for what we're able to package it for you. So we actually pass those along at cost. It'll run you about 8%.
Yeah, it'll probably be about 175,000 for a 2-bedroom and 200,000 for a 3-bedroom, roughly. We're still working through the finer details of it and working with different manufacturers around the world. But that's where we think it's going to come out.
It's important to note that, on the 3 bedrooms, we're furnishing 4,000 square feet of indoor and outdoor space. And the quality and the level of the furnishings that we're doing are, exceptional because it's within the Strand and it has to be able to pair well with the exceptional quality of the finishing materials that we're utilizing.
That's a great point, Thorne. There's so much real livable outdoor space in these. It is about 4,000 square feet that we have to furnish, but it's not, the furniture package is a little bit of a misnomer too. It's not just a furniture package. That is all your linens at 4 par, the best frette linens. It's all the linens at 4 par. That's all of your kitchen stuff and crockery, all of the artwork, all of the electronics, the whole deal. So it's actually pretty darn good deal, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, what's really cool is when we turn this property over to you, and it's your first day and you're walking into your new home, the only thing you have to bring with you is your suitcase with some clothes, and you're going to leave those behind. So on your other trips, you don't really have to bring anything with you. Just bring your passport, jump on a plane, and come down. And that's how we want you to get to know the Strand anyway. Is it's a place where you're not coming to work, right? This is a place you're coming to relax, enjoy yourself, and make memories. So we try to take care of every single part of it out the gate.
I think there's just one question remaining, Soph. I don't know if you saw it from Tim. asking
Yes,
about
yeah.
the airport shuttle service.
Yeah, and the answer is yes. We have to work with a local taxi company for that. That's just kind of the law in Turks and Caicos. But of course, we'll have pickup service. We'll have not just pickups in service to the airport, but we'll try to have very convenient services to wherever you want to go. If you want to go to Grace Bay, or you want to go kiteboarding on Long Bay instead of here, or if you want to, whatever you want to do. In addition, we have other services like pre-arrival shopping, so we can stock your fridge so you don't have to worry about messing with the grocery store. We'll do post-arrival shopping for you. Anything you want or can think of, we're happy to help you out. Make it as Thorne said, as turnkey and pleasant and fun as possible.
There's another question here from Scott. Where will owner storage be located?
Sophie, you want to answer that?
Yeah, well, for the villas, let me see if I can get our floor plan up here. But for the villas, we have owner's closets that are designated in each of the closets. So let me see if everyone can see my screen. You can see here on the second floor, we have an owner's closet in your walk-in closet. So that can be locked and unlocked depending on if you're in residence or not. And then we also have one on your third floor for owner's closet.
And then we also have additional outside, little bit, but probably not much in the maid's closet, but where the pool equipment is going to be some substantial room in there, I think, Sophie.
Yes, that's true. So when you're coming into your courtyard and you've got your main gate here, you will have a small area underneath this area that will have all of your pool equipment. So if anyone needs to maintain anything on your property, they don't have to come into the property. It's all accessible outside, but you could also keep paddle boards there. We also will have storage on the beach and all of kind of watercrafts available at the beach as well. But if you want to have your own, this is a good place for that as well.
So the key to that, Scott, is if you have stuff that doesn't need to be in air conditioning, there's going to be room. You can put stuff in there. If you have things that you want to keep air conditioned, whether it's makeup or whatever, then we have the lock-off owner closets on the second and third floors.
Okay, let me see. I think that's all of the questions that we have. I just want to add, guys, we've been recording this. So we will be posting this on our website. So if you want to share it with any friends, I've gotten some private emails throughout this process asking about where we can get that. And that's available on our website, thestrandtci.com. Also, if you haven't registered with us already and you want to receive some more information, please go onto our website and register. Then you'll be getting all of our newsletters, our developer updates and construction updates as well. I just want to say thank you to our panelists. It was so nice to see you guys again after last night's open house.
Thank you, Sophie. That was great.
Thanks,
There's
guys.
one more.
I just want to know what's planned for tomorrow, Sophie.
Oh, no,
We're going to keep you busy, Joe.
Sunday
everyone.
brunch.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
One last thing I'd like to say to anybody who's watching is, even if you're just curious, you just want to come out to the property and look around, give me a call, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to take you out there. It really is a special place, and I'm happy to share it with anybody who wants to look. So don't be a stranger.
You guys, I'm so sorry, but there is one more question. It just came in from Kim. I don't know if you want to respond privately or now. Just saw a little number pop up.
It actually comes in from one of our current owners, wonderful couple. They just asked, having the furniture package ourselves has been a great thing. We've even been able to customize it to an extent. So thank you for that, Kim, appreciate it. And then about flying in commercially or private, will there be a service to pick us up at the airport? Also fast pass through customs. So something that we try to do is if you're flying in privately, absolutely. We have a very nice appointed vehicle that will pick you up at the airport and take you, to the property. And as far as fast pass is a thing where if you're flying in commercially, just let us know in advance and we can set it up so that you can actually get fast tracked. You can skip some of the lines through immigration and customs. It just speeds it up. During high season, sometimes our airport can be a little bit slow. And this will cut you down from an hour at the airport to 10 minutes at the airport. And we're happy to help you organize it and set it up. So thank you for that, Kim. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And hi, Kim. How are you? Okay, well, thank you guys again. And thank you everyone for attending. If you're not already, follow us on social media and register on our website. And I hope everyone has a healthy and happy holidays. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Hi, everyone.